At 34, I quit my job of 9 years because they didn't want to make me a VP. I broke up with my ex of 4 years because he didn't want to marry me. But he would prefer to have kids with me and buy homes. I then bought a condo in Brooklyn, New York, and became a first-time homeowner. In 6 months, I landed a job as a VP at another firm that was paying me 60% more than what my previous job was paying me. I'm now a VP in a profession that I enjoy. At 38, I spend most of my time decorating my condo. My advice, don't stay in places that you're not valued and have to convince people of what you're worth. If the job's not paying you enough and if the job's not promoting you, leave and go where you're valued. If the relationship no longer serves you, leave until the right person comes along. You never have to convince people to value you. You never have to convince people that you're worthy. So, until the right people come along and give you exactly what you deserve and what you're worth, my advice, life is too short to be in places where you are unhappy, miserable, trying to convince people that you're worth their kindness, worth their promotion, or worthy of a healthy relationship.
Hi, ladies, welcome back to my channel. So, I wanted to talk about my experience entering my 30s. Now that I'm in my 30s, I realize that entering your 30s, first of all, society likes to demonize women for being 30, almost as if like you expect women to just fall off the earth and die at 30. Or they'll tell you that you automatically just magically lose your value and hit the wall at 25 and you're pretty much doomed once you hit 30. And even more so if you are a woman who is unmarried and child free, like your life has no meaning. And throughout the duration of this video, I'm going to be sharing some photos of women who are thriving and doing well in their 30s. I'm not only going to show Black women or exoticals because I think that you can glean inspiration from anywhere, regardless of your race. I realized very, very quickly that when I started to live life on my own terms, doing things for myself and just honestly focusing on being the healthiest version, best version, smartest version of myself, was when things started to fall into place very quickly and so much more easier. They say that your 30s is like your 20s, but with money. And that is like so true for me, at least. But yeah, like all of the choices and the sacrifices that I made in my 20s, working and saving, even when I wasn't making much in my early 20s, I still made it a goal to save maybe like $50 a paycheck or $100 a month, 200. And as I started to earn more, I started to save more so that my money would compound. And not just with saving only, but with investing. I have a plan on how like I invest on rotation. That video, I believe I explained that in my video of how you can make money and survive in 2025, but that's available in the membership. So if you're interested in hearing that topic, go ahead and sign up for the membership and check that video out. But that came from me like working hard, having good work ethic, networking, whatever, so I can get more senior positions at work. And as I climbed the corporate ladder, obviously you make more money. And then that's more money that I was able to invest and save. So give yourself time if you're not where you want to be. Like, don't compare yourself to people who are on social media who may be in their 20s having senior leadership roles. A lot of times those people got that job because they knew somebody. And I'm pro nepotism. If you know somebody who can help you get a leg up, get a leg up. All the successful, rich, and famous people got where they were because someone gave them a handout. So go ahead and take that handout if you can get it. Don't feel guilty. Just consider it as another resource to get ahead. Now that I'm in my 30s, I'm more mature because I choose to challenge unhealthy thinking patterns. So I'm no longer hyper religious. I'm no longer a people pleaser. I'm no longer a slave to people's opinion. I could care less what you think. I am very quick to cut off toxic relationships no matter what, whether it's a friendship, a work relationship, what have you. If I find that it's a situation, not only that it no longer serves me, but in the sense that like it's really taking a toll on my mental health or I'm expending too much energy to try to make it work, that's a sign that that's something that I need to just cut off and move on with my life. Because I worked on my mental health during my 20s, I have this sort of mental clarity that contributed to me being more mature. A lot of times people think that, with age and over time, you will become more mature automatically, and that's not necessarily the case. Obviously, like the older you get, you're going to be exposed to more experiences in life, but it is up to you to take those experiences, learn from it, apply it, whatever. And that is what will determine whether or not you will learn from that experience and become more mature. I know many people who are in their 30s, 40s, and beyond who behave like and think like children. They have arrested development, they have stunted growth mentally because for whatever reason, they are probably not able to see through whatever trauma they have. And so it blocks their ability to think critically and to be able to think and function like an adult. They pay the consequence in many areas. For example, being caught up in relationships with men who don't really care for them or constantly finding themselves as being the workhorse at work instead of the show pony. And so they're constantly being overworked, but like getting no reward in return. That is because that person lacks the mental maturity to think for themselves and to be able to do the necessary work and changes to make sure that they're positioning themselves in a way to get the best possible outcome in life. And with more mental maturity, it translates to more wisdom on life choices in general. So you just have a better understanding of how to figure out and navigate life. Obviously, again, you're human, so you're not going to be perfect, but you have a better understanding just from other lived experiences. You're able to apply it to each experience that you encounter. For me, it was how to keep fit, how to clear my skin. I used to have really horrible acne in my early to mid 20s. And just through life experiences and learning how to research and apply things that would help me, now my skin is better. And because I have more money, I'm able to invest in treatments that I wasn't able to invest in my early 20s. I'm able to pay for monthly chemical peels to help peel away and shed the top layers of my skin that have hyperpigmentation in order to reveal healthy, glowing, clear skin underneath. I have more refined taste in terms of my clothing and the food that I like to eat. I understand the benefits of eating certain foods and when during my cycle to benefit me. And I've been able to heal my low iron. All of these things just came from me learning things, being open minded and applying it, and then being able to benefit as a result. You also have a less tolerance for BS, but you also learn how to meet people where they're at instead of trying to change people, which is a huge mistake that I made in my 20s. Like, I thought that, if I show, and it was with good intention, it wasn't even trying to be manipulative. But now that I look back, when you try to change somebody, you are manipulating them. You want them to conform to what you think is the ideal version of themselves rather than respecting that that is an autonomous being. And even if they genuinely are making a mistake with their life, they have the right to do so, the same way that you have the right to make mistakes and choices that please you in the moment. And so I learned to meet people where they were at in life, and that involves agreeing to disagree, which may also include walking away if you cannot coexist with someone's differences. And that's totally fine. It doesn't always, whenever we think of like walking away from from a situation, we think that it's going to be this big emotional contentious thing when it could just simply just be like, we've reached the end of the road and it's time to move on. It doesn't need to be this big dramatic thing because you know within yourself, you have a peace within yourself to say, you know what, this person is not compatible with where I want to be or with where I'm at right now. And maybe I'm also not compatible with where they're at. Maybe my presence causes them a level of discomfort that they're not willing to address, or they just simply do not like the energy that I carry, and that's totally fine. I also notice that I'm more confident because I'm more sure of myself. I don't prioritize friendships as much as I did before, or even romantic relationships. I just focus on myself and I let things happen organically. I don't beg for acceptance or desire to be included in things. If I'm excluded, I don't ask like, "Oh, where's my invitation?" or "Can I come?" If you're not invited, you're not invited. If you were meant to be there or that person intended for you to be there, they would have invited you. They didn't forget. It wasn't an oversight. It was simply that for whatever reason, you were not included in their plans and you have to be okay with that. I also know how to advocate for myself and I don't shy away from doing so. So whether that's negotiating a higher salary or asking to remain reporting to somebody. So if there's like a restructuring and you're told like you're going to now report to so and you realize not even that, oh, I don't like so and so, but you realize that that person will not support your development in the way that your current manager or another manager would, I open my mouth and I ask. The worst they can tell you is no. And if it's no, then you've tried to find a way to ride out the storm. It may work itself out where you guys can just get over the initial bump and then be able to collaborate peacefully. But sometimes if you can't, it's like, okay, I'll continue to use this as an opportunity to learn, to build my skills and my resume, and then I'll move elsewhere. I also notice that I receive more respect and I'm taken more seriously compared to in my 20s, probably because I don't look like a baby anymore and people see me as an actual adult. But that has also translated to getting free stuff, upgrades, less pushback if I contest something. People kind of just respect me and acknowledge me for being an autonomous being. And because I carry myself with confidence, then I'm respected for that as a result. And honestly, my biggest flex, I must say, especially in my 20s, but now that I'm older and I'm looking at women my age share their life experiences and their struggles. Many women in their like 20s, but specifically their 30s, are talking about, they love their children, but if they could do it again, they would not be a mother. And I truly believe that I was able to achieve a certain level of success in my life and I was able to mature and grow and heal mentally. I've spoken in previous videos about dealing with depression and anxiety. I was able to do so because I didn't have any kids. And it's not to say that kids are a burden. Like, if done right, kids can be a blessing, but kids are a responsibility. They are human beings. They're not like a little pet where you can just plop them in the corner somewhere and they kind of go off and do their own thing. They require care, nurturing, love. And if you're not in a right place mentally or emotionally to be able to even give that to yourself, having another human being around who is solely dependent upon you, and not even in the sense of being a single mother, but as a mother, you play that nurturing role, that can really stunt and delay your development and your growth because you're not able to pour into yourself fully because you have another child that you must pour into. And even outside of that, just focusing, having the time and the energy to focus on, like, at one point, like, I was employed in a job, and after my job, I would go home and apply to a new job that paid more, or I would focus on my side hustle, or I'd come home and record and edit a YouTube video. I was able to do that because I didn't have the responsibility of having to pick up a kid from school or having to take them to whatever practice. Will my desire for children change in the future? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But I am so glad that I didn't succumb to the idea that I had to be a mother as a way to like prove that I'm a mature, responsible adult. Because now not only did I have the peace of mind and the mental space to just take care of myself and look after myself. But now I have all that money for myself. I can literally focus on myself. And people would say, oh, that's selfish. But what's really selfish is when you bring a kid into the world and you're not able to do so. You're not able to take care of that child emotionally and financially the way that they deserve because you decide to have a child in order to prove something to other people rather than doing it from a place where you and your partner are fulfilled financially, emotionally, mentally, whatever. And now you want to bring someone else into that equation to give all that love and nurturing and resources to. If you are a woman in your 30s and you are child free, you should see that as a blessing rather than a failure because there are many women who wish that they could turn back the hands of time and choose differently. But for those women who may feel like they're less than a woman or they failed in life because they've chosen not to have kids, don't let society, especially the Black community, gaslight you. Because there's like this belief that if you're a woman who doesn't have at least one child by 25, that like you're immature or irresponsible. People used to say that all the time about Ashanti. Like Ashanti was living her best life up into her 40s. And then she circled the block with Nelly, or he circled the block with her and then got her pregnant and then told her that he had no intention of helping to raise the child or change diapers or whatever, which pretty much means I'm not going to be an active parent unless I have to. It's like, girl, stop projecting. Just because you got knocked up and now your only focus is raising that child, you're not able to travel and party and do whatever you want anymore. Don't make the rest of us feel bad just because we have the freedom to do what you can't. These are the main things that I notice and that I reflect upon as the year closes out. I'm looking forward to learning more things about myself and experiencing more things in my 30s. I'd like to honestly travel more. That's one thing that I didn't really get to do much of in my early to mid 20s. So I definitely want to ramp that up, if you will, and maybe at least visit one new country a year. So if you have any recommendations for solo traveling or even going out with your friends, let me know down below in the comments. And also share what you've learned as you've entered your 30s and even 40s and even 50s. Give us something to look forward to as we age. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.